I would like to welcome my brother, Spartan Dog, legend, cornerback, first-round draft pick, all-world, all-American, all of this, all of that, Darqueze Dennard to the Quiet Time podcast. My dude, what's good?
What's good, bro, man? Appreciate you having me on, man. I'm loving what you're doing.
Hey, man, appreciate that. You know, on the podcast, we just talk about, you know, success and how it looks different for everybody. And then we dive into a little bit of a leadership portion as well. So we're just going to hop right in. Like, you know, I've seen you grow as a person and as a player, but more as a person. So I want to talk a little bit about, you know, where you're from, Twiggs County, and your mindset once you got an offer from Michigan State, what your mindset was coming into Michigan State, because you weren't a highly recruited guy.
Well, I'm from super small. I graduated, to put things in perspective. I graduated with like 30 people in my high school senior class. You know, when I got the scholarship offer, man, it was a blessing, really. You know, I wasn't highly recruited. A lot of people, like I ended up getting, actually I was a no-star recruit. They gave me 2 stars after I signed to Michigan State, which is crazy. But it was a blessing, man. It really just gave me an opportunity to, you know, obviously get a free education and play football, but just give me an opportunity that a lot of people from where I'm from really didn't have a shot to. So obviously was blessed and just super grateful and thankful for Coach D for, you know, allowing me to join y'all.
You know, I know the real story about, you know, we don't have to necessarily talk about it on here, about how the offer went down and how crazy that was. And, you know, it is truly a blessing when you see things like that. And then you see a person like yourself with such a small graduating class, and then you come to Michigan State, get your degree, and then become a first-round draft pick. So what was your mindset at Michigan State? Because, I saw you play early on, but then it was like, something shifted in your mind where you were like, oh no, I'm getting ready to take this passing like to a whole nother level. So talk about, you know, your mindset when you got to Michigan State.
When I first got to Michigan State, you know, kind of like I was just super athletic, young, like fast, can run. And when I got there, obviously you had been up there and for a year, we get there and we do the 7-on-7. You running by me and Kurt, you know, throwing bombs. Now I kind of realized, like, man, this ain't high school no more. Like, everybody can run, quarterbacks can throw. So that had put me on another level. Like, I got to catch up. So whatever I got to do to basically catch up. So I started really studying and try to, like, nitpick everything I do. And I think that's when I end up becoming a, you know, technician, really, and try to be a perfectionist with everything I do. So, yeah, so that's really, you know, what my mindset was to really like just be consistent. Once you being consistent at things, that's when things like break through for you. You have opportunities that kind of happen early on. And still, I didn't think I was able to play at the next level. Honestly, I probably ain't really started believing that until really got to be the Outback Bowl. That's when I was like, okay, man, I got a shot. And then from there, it kind of like took off to a whole nother level.
Yeah, I hear you talk about consistency. And I think that's one of the most important things, not only in football, but just in being a good person, is that you have to consistently be that every single day. And, you know, right now we're talking about how success doesn't look the same, how it looks different. You know, you and I both, like, I had a similar experience at Michigan State when I first got up there. And, you know, I was injured and things like that. But my first spring ball playing against CL Rucker, he was guarding me and I was getting ready to run an out route and he jammed me to the middle of the field. And I'm just like, oh, man. And I remember Coach D telling me, like, hey, this ain't track. You know, you got to learn how to play football. And, like, I had to catch up, you know, just like you, like, put in work extra hours in the summer just so we could play, like, just so we could get to the season and play. It's just crazy. So, you know, who was like a mentor for you? Because I think mentorship is a very important part of people being successful. It's not like you had to do this by yourself. I know, obviously, you had Coach D, but Coach B, I think he had a really great impact on you as somebody that you've always talked about in interviews. And, you know, anytime we're talking about, you know, Coach B had a very big impact on me because he was one of my leaders when, we were getting away from our actual position coach. So talk a little bit about Coach B and his relationship and him actually coming back to Michigan State now to be the defensive coordinator.
Man, Coach B is Coach B. I owe Coach B a lot, man. Not only just football wise, just as a person as well. Like, obviously, like growing up, your parents and your grandparents instill things in your community, instill things that you always carry. But once you get around good people, you kind of get better qualities and and things like that. And I think that's what really I learned. I know the rest of the guys, because we still talk about Coach B today, what kind of person he was off the field. And I think that's just how the whole Michigan State culture was when we was there. Like all the coaches was good people. They care about you, your well-being. And with Coach B, I think I was blessed enough to be with Coach B just because it's hard to sit in a player room and a coach tell you to do things and haven't done it. It's hard to receive it. But for me, I was blessed enough to, play under a All-American at Michigan State. A guy who went to the NFL and played for a long time, a guy who plays my position essentially. He plays in the defensive back room. So he literally walked it and talked it. So if I want to be that, who else could be, the better teacher for me? And not only as well as a football player, just as a person. So for me, man, I owe Coach B a lot, just not only on the field, but also off the field, just how to carry yourself, how to be a professional, how to, prepare for games, how to know it's a place of time for everything, and then like for me, man, like from like the environment and like the coaching style that I have seen, and like Coach Narduzzi is a yeller, he's a screamer, where Coach B, his tone is like this the whole time. His whole message is it's the same thing as like Coach Narduzzi is saying, but he just respectfully just said, and he said this mild tone. And for me being an even killed person, it was like, wow, it's my first time seeing something, like that. And for me, it helped me out a lot. And I know he helped out a lot of guys as well. And I owe a lot to Coach B.
Yeah, Coach B, shout out to Coach Barnett, a great guy. And he always brought that competition out. And he would bring it out in me and you. Like, what a lot of people don't understand is how much you and I competed and how much we still compete today, just in different ways, like pushing each other to be better. We had some legendary battles, and it was just a lot of fun to compete against your brother. Like when people talk about Michigan State or they talk about how great the no-fly zone was, like you automatically come to mind. No, don't get me wrong. Ziggy comes to mind, Trey Waynes and Kurt and everybody. But you and I, it was like anytime I was up for a one-on-one, you was right there. If you was like, oh, no, somebody – I'm going with him. And it was just like that, even to our last practice at the Rose Bowl. And I think I stepped on your foot and you twisted your ankle or something like that. But, that's just something that I will always appreciate you for, and Coach Barnett. Because Coach Barnett would like bring it out of me as well. Like, because I was always a talker. He'd be like, well, get up here then, So it was it's always that good competition, that will always be with us, especially me and you. I think that's one of the biggest things about Michigan State. And one of the things about that I would like to tell people on this show is that you got to compete in life every day, and not just necessarily with somebody else, with yourself. So how do you do that?
Just being uncomfortable. I think like you said, just how I look at things, I look at everything as far as football and just how I got to be successful. Because with everything in life, I just have to remember what took me to get to Michigan State, what took me to get to the NFL. Like I had to wake up early, work hard to get there or whatever. So for me, that's basically my mindset, right? So like how I basically look at things is you work hard, you basically pan out, and you get in what you put out. So you wake up, you grind, you do what you got to do to basically get to the goal. So that's how I basically attack life. So I make myself uncomfortable. So I think about Michigan State practices. Like we definitely used to battle. So we had to go best on best. That's how I got better. So like I used to tell people practices were harder than the games when our senior year. Like the practices were harder than the games. And for that, it made game time easier, made it fun, made it less hectic, made it, exciting. That's why I was able to do what we do. So now how I attack life is basically make myself uncomfortable. So I try and learn new things, put myself in new situations to be able to learn myself to bring something new out of myself. So to keep to be competitive, just to find the competitive edge. So every year really says football, how I get better with football. Same thing is just try new things like yoga, Pilates, all these things to make myself uncomfortable, to become a stronger mentality. And as far as working out your body as well, to do different things so it can last longer over the time. So that's how I basically look at things. Make myself uncomfortable, and then when the uncomfortable come comfortable, find something new to make myself uncomfortable again. So keep setting stages and breaking them down.
Yeah, I think that's important for people to understand, is making yourself uncomfortable, and you doing that on purpose will make your game days a lot easier. And I know that's something that you've done in the NFL. So I know right when you said that, I'm thinking, I know you was going against AJ Green all the time and asking to go against him. What's it like playing with a player like that? Because we talk about receivers and guys that we've played with, because we get to see him on everybody can see AJ Green on Sunday, but you get to see AJ Green and what makes him special on a day-to-day basis. And I know you go against him. What's your mindset when you guard a guy like that? And then, tell the people what type of receiver he really is that they don't get to see.
Oh man, to me, I think he's definitely top 3 receiver, no matter if he played one game a season or, 16 games. If he's healthy, he's a problem. Just because to be that height, that weight, that size, and that speed, and he's super smooth. So when people kind of look at receivers, I look at receivers differently. Certain receivers, I don't want to go too much in depth with it, but basically certain receivers struggle at certain things, where you find rare that you have your Julio Jones that and your AJ Greens to be that size and can still move as a 10, 5'11" receiver, still have quicks and in and out, and the same agility as a 5'10" guy. So it's impressive to be that height, that weight, that speed, and just obviously he made me a lot better, and he made me just a better football player just because how he approached the game. I was lucky enough to have to be able to go against a top receiver every day to get better and to go talk to and basically learn, figure out things, how he see me and how I see him. So once you go against those type of people and just see how those type of people work every day, you just want to, basically get better at it. And to me, he top 3. He top 3.
I know Julio's in there, so it's only one other person. I don't know who else could be in that top 3. But no, I do totally understand what you're saying. When you got 2 guys like that, and when Demaryius was healthy, he was in that to me.
For sure.
Just because them dudes are so big.
And they move big, fast, body control, to get in and out of the breaks. It's hard. It's harder than they can, basically play basketball. If you cover and play basketball, they can box you out, that type thing. So it's hard when you get that type size receivers that can still, move and can still control their body. But yeah, these, it's a lot of receivers though that's they're good at what they do, but not I'm take that back. It's a lot of receivers that's great and they be great at one thing and then kind of, good. But when you put Julio and you put AJ and some few others, they good at in every category or great at every category. However you it's a difference. You have to really worry about everything. So it's impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember Julio. I don't know if it was last year before camp or the year before that, and I think a reporter asked him a question. He said, "I don't have any flaws in my game," and I was like, "He's not lying. He don't have any flaws." If we really look at the film, what can he not do?
Yeah,
he can do it all.
Yeah, run after the catch. He literally checks every box. And he a different type human. you don't really find too many of those guys walking around.
Yeah. We'll probably have some young Spartan dogs listening to this. A lot of the young guys have been giving me some good feedback on it. What would you tell these guys right now? If they want to get into the NFL right now, because I talk about the importance of having a vision and like striving for something big. If they really understand what they really want in life and what they're really looking towards, they'll understand getting up early in the morning or being uncomfortable. They'll understand that's a part of getting where you want to go. Like when we were at Michigan State, the vision that we had for the Rose Bowl, nothing was going to stop that. Yeah, we had the 7-6 season the year before that, but like you said, those practices, that camp going into that season, you knew something great was about to happen. The practices were just too crazy. So let's talk a little bit about the young Spartans that will be listening and Spartan fans that will be listening to understand like how we had that approach and that mindset and the approach that they need to have going into this year, because, all eyes are going to be on them. They got a new coach in the Big Ten, but I still have high expectations.
Yeah. So I think the thing that kind of like really separated us. So we 7-6, right? We lost 6 games, total 13 points. It was something crazy. Like good football team, we just couldn't really, put it together. Yeah. So rolling to the following year, we all knew mentally, like, all right, me and you, especially, like this is our last year. We got to do this. We got to do this to be able to, get recognized. So when people don't understand, and this, I think, we did a great job just talking to everybody. I know I used to kind of like drain it on the DBs. It's just like, listen, literally be like, listen, like Trey wasn't a full-time starter at this time. And me and Trey had plenty like long talks. And I'm telling him like, hey, bro, I probably don't get no balls because they will try to go at you. So if you do your thing, then I'm going to do my thing and we all going to get recognized, which we did, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what people don't understand. I think people really don't understand as far as like me. I want to get to the next level. I got to do this. But if you do your 1-11, literally your 1-11 job, and y'all go out there and win games, and you have fun, you do what you're supposed to do, everything else is gonna take care of yourself. Like, and once you do that, so if going into that year, they said our offense, like, basically was, trash or whatever. They talked bad about their quarterbacks, talked bad about the running backs. Because you remember we had Riley Bullock playing running back at the time.
Yep. And talking bad about the receivers too.
Talking bad about the receivers. They kind of like wishy-washy with the O-line, but you know what I'm saying? Bad. So then like the first couple of games, we're still trying to figure out like the quarterback position and all this type of stuff. And then, the whole Notre Dame, blah, blah, blah. And then we took the bye week, and then the next week y'all took off and like averaged 30+ points a game, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Which y'all like, and we literally blocked out the noise. We knew what we had to do like throughout the week, and supported each other. Like, you know what I mean? It was everything, man. We do it like we used to come talk to you, go get the ball back for y'all. Don't worry about it. Y'all used to, we're gonna score on this turnover. Don't worry about it. Like things like that. Everything worked in together. So is special teams. Like once you build that and you know the confidence, like you have the confidence in your other teammates, and don't do too much, the game will come easy, and you don't get to shine, and everybody else don't get the recognition as well. Like if you go back and look at it, like to me, nothing really like stats wise was different from my junior year and my senior year. The only thing was different was we won. Right. And now I'm All-American. Now I'm a Thorpe Award winner because of it, but because of my team. That's the only reason I win the awards. And that's like, I tell you guys that all the time. It's really like, okay, I got it. Like it's on my name, but literally y'all won me the award because it wasn't no different from my junior year and my senior year, but the record. And people don't really realize that. People like, once you win, you get recognition from your, like everything else gonna play out. And that's how we basically seen it. If you go back and look at that team, like a lot of us was all Big Ten players, and we, you know what I mean? We a bunch of us went on to play in the league and still playing in the league. Like it's crazy And because you think individually, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. When you got to do it, of course, but when you bring 10 other people, which they go bring 10 other people, and it's going to lead to everything and go make everybody accountable, and which led to this. Like, I can't go get no extra work without you getting no extra work. And then that led to other people getting extra work, which led to the whole team. So we doing practices, and then we doing stuff after it's trying to get better even, you know what I'm saying? And that it's a domino effect, literally domino effect. And I think once you get that mindset and once you bring other people along, then that's how good things going to happen.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying about that. You know, you hitting everything. I think the young Michigan State team, if they just listen to some of the things that you just said, they will be able to understand the importance of holding people accountable, being on a team. And, you know, I guess we could just dive into the leadership portion right now about it, because people need to understand that as much as we competed, you had no problem getting in my face and be like, hey, what was that? Like, that's not you. And I think people need to understand that, especially these kids nowadays. They too afraid to tell their friends or getting in their friend's face like, hey, and they, you know, they just let things slide. So you and Max especially, you know, you guys being captains, y'all came at me all the time like, hey, this is not what I seen in practice. It's not the same moves. Why are you not using the same moves on the field? So now that brings out the best in me. Now, talk a little bit about your leadership role at Michigan State, because I think that's super important. You know, you being a super quiet guy when you first came there and then becoming a captain, because, yes, becoming a captain, you have to lead by example, but you also have to speak up and lead verbally as well.
Yeah, so when I first got to Michigan State, I ain't talked at all, for real, but to y'all.
Right.
And it'd be like whispers at that. So then, like, probably like my sophomore year, kind of still the same thing. I wouldn't talk, but talk around y'all, and y'all knew what kind of person I was. So it was better for that and easier. How I think 3 years looking back, like my junior year, still I probably should have talked more because people was looking at me to talk more, but I wasn't there mentally. And my senior year, it was kind of like, bro, I'm tired. I can't lose. You know, I hate losing. Now this, where I have to do something now if I, you know, want to get where we want to go. And you especially nudged me a long time, nudged me like, brother, people need to hear this. Like, you know, you need to say this. Like, people gonna respect you more because you go out there and play, obviously, and you work hard and people see you work hard. You need to go, you know, tell your story. You need to talk to people. And I didn't really want to do it. And then, you know, our junior year happened and it wasn't too good. But that senior year, it was like, man, I had surgery. So I coming from a different angle. I'm like, I'm seeing it from a different angle. And it was like, all right, I got to do this. I'm not practicing right now. So how can I tell these guys to do this? And so that's how I kind of came in. It came about just me really not overdoing it. Like, especially everything was genuine with me. Like, if I say something, you know it coming from a good place. And I think that's kind of the how you got to take things. So don't take it as criticism, just take it as love, because I want you at the end of the day to be where you want to be if we have sit down and had the conversation. So that was kind of how me and Matt end up getting on to you as well as other players. And, you know, just like I tell you all the time, like, hold me accountable. Like, that's the only way things gonna get right. If you see me meddling around and not doing what I'm supposed to do, then who knows? Like, I go out there and put that performance on, it cost me the game. So that's like, it's kind of go back to like Coach B and the influence he had on me. Just, it's a time and place for everything. Like, you know, we can be cool, you can laugh, joke all the time, but when we cross those lines, you know, it's all business. We say we want to win a championship. That's what we got to do. So what sacrifice are you going to do? And how you can't feel no type of way of me holding you accountable. And I expect the same thing for me. So it's like, you got to have it. And for me, it kind of ended up working well because I had bit that time of just working. My play was just doing the talking and me just working hard with doing the talking. and a lot of people respect it. So then once I finally started to talk like around the team more, then everybody kind of like, oh, okay, well, this got to be serious, and it wasn't no playing in joking manner, so they kind of take it better.
Yeah, every time you gave a speech before a game, especially the one before we played Ohio State, I knew Ohio State couldn't beat us because it was too much emotion in the room. They had no chance. And you will only people will understand that is if you was in that room. And the coaches wasn't in there. I don't believe they was in there. I think it was just all the players. And Nico's gave a speech. Max talked, and then you talked, and you said, "Oh, my mama." And I was like, "Oh, man. It's over. We about to go out here and get these dudes."
It was a wrap.
It was a wrap. And you could tell by the way we played. And you could tell it's a picture of Jay Lang and Shazier getting into it. And I was like, hey, we ain't scared of nothing.
Yeah.
We ain't scared of nothing. And
that dog mentality. Like at that time, like you gotta let that other guy, like Coach B, I still say that to this day, like Coach B said all the time, like you gotta let the other guy being the credible hope and and the doctor. So you can be the doctor before the game, but when you hit the line, hook got to come out, and that's what we did, and that's how we played that whole season. And
especially
I think
in that Michigan game too.
Yeah, like
that Michigan game, you felt like when I look back at that Michigan game, I only see the highlights from time to time. It felt like all 4 years that we played bottled up into 1 year, even though we was winning against them, bottled up into 1 year. All the YouTube clips, it was just played out that entire day. It was crazy.
It was brutal. It was oh man, I was like defense. It was crazy. Like crazy. Like going back and watching highlights and seeing films and clips of it. Like we held them to a negative rushing yard.
Negative 48.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous, but just it was the swag that we played with too, and that was just like our type of game. It was a little rainy, it was a little muddy. It didn't matter. Jay Lang was going crazy. Connor was going crazy. Trevor Pendleton always having some crazy type of play, and always in the biggest games, he always getting some weird pass.
Bro, he have the biggest plays in every game. It's ridiculous. Yeah. For him to be a fullback, he done made like the most like impact plays.
Yeah. Rose Bowl, all the Michigan games. Yeah.
When we left, like he went to Ohio State and caught the long pass, like the run he ended up doing. It is crazy. Like Trevor, when he first get there, he'll talk like, "Man, I was just a great running back." Like, bro,
what you talking about?
Yeah.
And then he'll show it. He'll show it with a crazy play. And it would be crazy that Connor could see that. Kind of rolling out to the right, look back left, and then throw it across the field to the fullback.
Trevor, if you see him, it's like, bro, like
no
you
way.
don't even think you're a football player. But
that's
just
how
the mentality. Yeah, that was like our mentality. It didn't matter. Like next man up. Like literally, come on, we gonna ball.
100%. So last part is what do you think the key characteristics of a leader are? Regardless of sport, I think it transfers to sport, business, whatever relationships. What do you think like the key couple characteristics are that you try to use as a leader?
I think you got to practice what you preach. You can't be a hypocrite. That's first and foremost. Like I can't tell you to do one thing and I won't do the same. So that's the first thing when it comes to leadership and you get put into this role. You can't basically tell this person, don't be a boss. Don't be a boss. How I think about it, like it's a difference between a boss and a leader. And a boss can basically coach out stuff to do and really like sit on his ass and not do nothing. While a leader will tell you what to do, show you how to do it, and and tell you ways how to be better at it. And then obviously just that I feel like being open to communication, not being a dictator. So if you come tell me something, I can accept it, right? And take it and see how things I can get better at it and see how I can implement it better in whatever role it is, say business, coaching, being players, whatever it is. it all got something that matters. So I feel like practicing what you preach, you know, being open to communication and just being a sponge, really. Just knowing, like, you know, every year something new. You gotta basically evolve. So, you know, kids are getting different these days. Like, you still gonna mess with the older generation, but kids are, you know, new. You got technology and all this type of stuff. You gotta always figure out ways how you can talk to somebody or be able to relate to them, and you just can't be stubborn in your mind. So I think, like, those are pretty key components to being a leader.
My dog. One last question: who you got in the finals, or who you got winning in this little bubble quarantine type thing? I already know who you about to say.
You already know. So it's like, especially now, you didn't give him a break.
LeBron didn't need a break.
He don't, exactly, but you didn't give him a break. So now you didn't give him a break. He chilling, like big chilling. He didn't, you know, him and AD chilling. So the Lakers. I know people probably gonna talk junk about LeBron and kind of like turn his name a little bit off of. They gonna say how he won a championship because they gonna try to make it a reason why. Of course. But at the same time, it's like, bro, like, what he do is impressive, super impressive, and I don't see nobody. Right now, I don't see nobody else matching up with him, being fresh as they is. And then, you know, obviously they lost. What did Avery Bradley say he ain't playing? But
that's a big loss.
J.R. Smith.
That's a big loss, though. Avery Bradley.
It's a definitely big loss, but they still pick up J.R. Smith.
Why not the Clippers?
I just think they got too many dogs.
I got a surprise pick. My surprise pick is Houston. Because I say that just because of the style of play. I don't think it's going to be much defense played in the bubble. And they said James Harden lost 15. And this is an AAU type style game. This is about to be some of the best basketball I think we've ever seen. Just because we can find out who really playing, who really feeding off the crowd, and who can hoop.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it. So I'm gonna go with Houston just because after LeBron James and the way he takes care of his body, Russell Westbrook is the next person who takes care of his body the best.
True, but I just don't see. I don't think there's enough basketball between them. Between Russ and James Harden, they both need to rock. Like, they can't play without the ball.
Well, when one gets tired, the other one take over. They gonna get tired.
At one point in time, they gon', you know what I'm saying? That's it's gonna clash. I think, because, you know, they both deservingly, they both alphas, right? And they deserve, like, they both MVPs, and they both at that time they gonna feel like, I need the ball to win. Like, this is a clutch play. I need the ball to win, so give me the ball. So who gonna take it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They both really deserving that right, but who gonna really back down? Is Russ gonna back down? I don't think Russ gonna back down.
No chance.
You know what I'm saying? You know, James Harden probably pitch a fit, which, you know, coaches kind of got to play towards him because, you know, Houston is his team technically. Right. So it's like, I don't know. I just don't think it's enough ball. Where the Lakers and the Clippers, I see them above the Rockets. I don't know if the Rockets make it. Depends on how the setup is, but I don't know if they'll make it to the chip. You know what I'm saying?
If Brooklyn was healthy, they would win it all.
Oh yeah,
in this format, only in this format, I say that. Like KD and Kyrie.
Yeah, because it's their game, literally their game.
Yeah, let's pull up to the milk house. Let's play 5-on-5, whatever. Let's go hoop.
Yeah, like, they gonna give you 60. Like, them boys buckets, like literally buckets. And yeah, see, Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? But and then that's the good thing about it though. So it's like KD, he don't need 30 shots. Like, I wish he would take 30 shots. He don't need. We're cool with 15 shots a game.
That's all you need.
For sure. But just think if he had the same mentality is like Westbrook and Harden, like take 30 shots, and he a better overall scorer than both of them, right? Better shooter, literally all that. And that's how I kind of look at it. If he had Russell Westbrook mindset, who knows what type of numbers we will really be seeing with it? Because he's taking 15 shots. I think people don't really realize that. Like, take 15, 20 shots max. That's a lot of shots for him a game. And it's like, bro, he can literally shoot 30 times a game. And people like, I wish he would do it just to see, what he would do. But, yeah. And that's the difference. I feel like that's like, KD cool, and then Kyrie can obviously be Kyrie the monster he is, because mentally he want to shoot 30 times. Where, you know what I'm saying? Where should it be opposite? Yeah. But it's easy because it ain't like KD don't play no ego. Like, shit, bro, get your bucket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is cool. It's cool to see. But that's why I'd be like, if you see other players like kind of like James Harden, kind of like Russell, they don't really like they mentally like they need the rock. They can't play without the basketball, and it's crazy to me. But you know what I'm saying. That's why I feel like the league different too. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole different story.
We had to talk about that one more time on the podcast before the season. But everybody, my man Darqueze, my brother Darqueze Dennard, I do want to tell you on camera right now while we're recording, one of my most proud moments at Michigan State was when you won the Thorpe. I still might have the picture on my Instagram. That was one of my most proud moments because we at Michigan State, we ain't never seen nobody do that. And it was just crazy. Like, all the fruits of your labor had paid off. The defense was number one in the country. And I still tell people to this day, we would have beat Florida State in the national championship.
For sure.
Don't get me wrong. It was great. They had Calvin Benjamin, Jameis Winston. We would have beat them, though.
For sure. It would, and I think we would have beat them by 10 points for us. Because their defense wasn't good. And we matched up with them. We literally matched up with them. So you got, at the time, you got Calvin Benjamin and what's the other receiver? Shaw and Green, right? But you still got Trey on the other side, which, come on, bro. Like,
first,
you know what I'm saying? Lyrically, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you go look at that first half when they played Auburn defense was, like, terrible that year. And you look at our defense, like, just, come on, bro. That's a whole nother story. I'm kind of like, I'm still upset about that. You know what I'm saying? Notre Dame kind of, you feel me? We're supposed to win 14-0.
It's all good. Everything happened for a reason. My man, Darqueze, appreciate you, brother.
Man, appreciate it, dog.